Come on, man. Oh, there we go.
Success.
Let's go. Good job.
Success. All right. And 8, 7, 6 with 4 people in the chat. And we're live. Awesome.
Yo.
So I'm gonna type in the live chat what was the error message from StreamYard.
Yeah, it's weird. Never seen or heard of anything like that before.
Hey, it worked.
Yeah.
But
apparently, too many people using StreamYard these days.
I think it's the only viable software out there for live streaming. In a podcast chat format, I think. I think for gamers, they use OBS.
Yeah, I've used OBS. It's a little bit of a learning curve, but it gives you a lot of flexibility once you learn the tool. So
I agree.
All right, so we have some people in the chat. Do say hi so that we know who you guys are. While we wait a little longer for people to tune in, let's see who's in the chat.
Hopefully we'll get a bit of a handful of the Ohio guys. Couple of guys are still at the store. We have our Monday night game night tonight, so we had one game I think still going when I left. We had 8 of us playing Kings tonight, a doubles game and a couple singles games.
Nice. And you said you were playing the Siege rules?
Yeah, so I've been wanting to try to imagine like a campaign mode for Kings for a while now. And I think Siege is going to give the framework for that. So I wanted to start trying out the rules as quickly as I could. So we played the Watchtower mission, doubles game. It is really fun. I mean, it's Kings, right? Like Kings is great. So, you're just playing Kings, but it's a new fun wrinkle. I'm curious, some balance tweaks, a couple things for some of the missions that I think we'll need tweak, but it's a beta build, so like that's to be expected. But I think they did a really good job for the initial launch of the rules.
They had Siege rules in version 3, or was it 3.5? Adam, do you remember?
Yeah, 3.5 I think is actually part of the book is
book.
When it was originally came out. So I think we did try one game of it, but I don't really remember much from it. Did anybody else play it in 3rd edition?
I read it, but before that I already came out with my own Siege rules, but I did watch the battle report on it that they did on I think Play on Tabletop, where they sort of commissioned the popular 40K channel to cover Kings of War. It was 1 ambush game, 1 standard game, and 1 siege game. I think the most common trait would be the walls or whatnot will be defense 7. So you need high crushing to get through them. They have a nerf point. I think there were some rules where the defender might have units pop up behind the enemy lines. That's to represent tunnels. But overall, I think it's quite manageable, basically. You have to break through the walls and then just what do you call it? Push inwards.
Yeah, if you guys have ever played the Fire Emblem games, the Watchtower mission actually felt like a mission like right out of a Fire Emblem game, like in a really good way. Mincer, Inventive. I actually the Play on Tabletop video was my first exposure to King. So it was a great way to get people into the game.
You have to get it to new audience, right? So with that, let's slide into our main topic. Hi everybody, it's me, Paige from Newbie Dice, and Adam, Ballard from MasterSight. And today we have two guests with us, two newish players who are somewhat new to Kings of War. And we are going to understand from their lens as a newish player, because Adam and I are old birds at this point. Has-beens.
Adam is a has-been. You're right.
100%.
I've been playing for 10 years. How long have you been playing Kings of War, Adam?
I think 10 or 11 years now, yeah. Because I remember, I think 2016 was the first U.S. Masters.
Right.
So yeah, it's been 10 to 11.
First US Masters playing Kings of War, that is. Before that, it was Warhammer Fantasy Battles, right?
Yes. Yep.
I started playing at the when Uncharted Empires was in its beta. That's where they had the beta Redkin list. I was playing off Google Sheet on the beta rules. What about yourself? Do you remember?
I remember actually getting a demo game in. I think it was Rob Fanuff had brought it to Arkansas, one of the last Warhammer Fantasy events, and he kind of showed it off for a bunch of people. Was excited to potentially get a lot of people interested. And then I remember that a lot of the tournament organizers throughout the South and kind of north of there, the Midwest at the time, the now Mountain region, kind of all voted, and a majority of us decided to join the Kings of War side of things and kind of promote that as the event of choice. And there was a lot of fracturing from there. A lot of people went to Ninth Age. A lot of people went to AOS. Some people just kind of dropped off entirely. But we kept maybe about 50% of the fantasy guys that we had at that point and converted over to Kings. And I'd say probably about 70% of the tournaments that were being ran at that time all converted to Kings of War as well. So that was my first experience. And I learned a lot. It took a lot of time before I got to be any good at the game, that's for sure. So,
were you a veteran Warhammer Fantasy Battles player at that point?
Yes, I started towards the end of 7th edition, so I wasn't terribly experienced, but I would say that like Travis and I, we played kind of at the tail end of high school and throughout college, and we weren't very active in the tournament scene, but we did get a couple of tournament victories between the two of us. So we felt pretty confident and pretty good about that from, not playing as much as we'd like to at that point. So.
All right. Has any of your Warhammer fantasy players, when end times happened, had any of them went into X-Wing?
Not that I remember, at least not locally. So,
because that's what happened to Singapore. We have a bunch of players going to X-Wing after end times happened, and one of them is one of my guests here, Lam. And before we deep dive into each of our guests, let's say hi to Lam.
Yup. All right.
And we haven't
started.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I started Warhammer Fantasy from 2nd edition, the red box.
Wow.
So that's before Ravening Hordes, before they used plastics. And then End Times came along, and I was involved with the European Team Championships. Have you heard of those? For Warhammer Fantasy and 40K and Fantasy as well. Yeah, ETC. So I was captain once or twice. And I remember after they announced the end of 8th edition, Mantic staff came along and started issuing free 1st edition rulebooks to all the players there. So there was a big voting and argument and debate whether ETC should adopt Kings of War. I was pro Kings of War. And unfortunately, they decided to stick to 9th edition, which they still are in 9th edition. So I started playing a few games at 1st edition. So technically, I'm not a new player, right? And well, they used to have chariot hordes. You imagine how big the footprint was. A chariot horde, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we okay. Bit of background in Singapore, in people of my generation age group, tend to be more competitive. So I confess I've never read any Mantic lore stuff. I've never played a siege mission. Every game I play is meant for competitive purposes. So at that time, Age of Sigmar was a joke game. I don't know anything about it now. They had silly rules like you measure line of sight from the model tip or something like that. And it's really daft rules. So we needed something to scratch our competitive itch, and X-Wing happened to be on the scene. It was, I think, the largest tabletop war game at the period in time. So we went heavily into X-Wing for a lost decade, right? And then, unfortunately, X-Wing got terminated. So we decided, okay, time to go and find another competitive game. So we were looking around. And I think of all the tabletop war games, Kings of War, third and fourth right now, more third than fourth, it's a very good competitive game. The time clocks, chess clocks, the clean rules, very clean rules, very good rapid cycle of points adjustments and whatnot. So the group of us, most of us from the X-Wing / Warhammer Fantasy group, decided to move into Kings of War. So there was a spike about a year ago, a whole bunch of old men turning up and play Kings of War. So the group suddenly got old very fast. The average age jumped up by 20 years, right? So that's our story.
Hey Lamb, when second edition Warhammer Fantasy came out, I would not be born for another 10 years.
Lucky you. Those are really complicated rules. You can goblin shaman summoning demons, things like that. Very complicated rules. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Lam. Let's move on to our next guest, Sam Moore. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah. Okay. So when I was a kid, I got this game called Heroescape, and no one would play with me. All my friends thought it was kind of lame. So when I was like 10, I would like set up the battle by myself and like play both sides. It's really sad, actually, if you think about it too much. But I remember thinking the models were so cool, and like moving your guys around the board was so fun, and like it was cool. So when I was in college, my friends and I played a few games of Heroescape, but if I'm being totally honest, Heroescape is not a great game, but the models are cool. So then after college, a couple friends and I started playing X-Wing. But I had like no like framework for wargaming at that point. I had a buddy who bought me Jango Fett's Slave One. I've got it tattooed here on my arm. I love that ship. It's my favorite ship in Star Wars. So we played that very casually. We didn't use any terrain. We basically just like go to someone's house and like drink beer and like move our little ships around for a few hours. We would see guys play Warhammer every now and then and be like, that's a lot of dice. That's too many dice. Actually, we had like a running joke because one time we watched a guy like throw like 50 dice and be like, 25 hits without like looking, which now Sam Kula does that. He can just do that. So I know people who do that now, but I was not like a war gamer per se. It was always kind of like the nerdy thing that I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I'll play D&D. I play video games. I was involved in esports for a long time, so I was the head coach for a college esports program for a number of years. I played Super Smash Brothers competitively, ran events all over the country, traveled. Super Smash Brothers helped pay my way through college. So like I was involved kind of in nerd stuff, but never did wargaming. Then about a little over a year ago, maybe a year and some change ago, a buddy of mine and I started looking at Kill Team. He was like, hey, we should play this game. It sounds really fun. We should play this thing. We played a few games together, and I was like, I want to play with more people because my buddy was really good at games. He was kicking my butt. So I posted in the Discord server for a local store and said, hey, does anybody play this game? Sam Kula DM'd me and is like, hey, just join our server. We have this other server. Just join our Discord server, the Scarlet and Grey Knights. I think it was Sam. Somebody DM'd me. I don't know if it was Sam or not. I think it was Sam. So I joined that server. Have never played. I played one game of Kill Team since then with Hitmang, who's in chat right now. He kicked my butt. But so they were all playing Kings of War. They talked about it a ton in the Discord server, and I had seen the play on tabletop videos. So I texted Kyle Poole which if you've been in the U.S. Kings of War scene in the last decade, you certainly know Kyle Poole, the Goblin Man. He both is a goblin and plays goblins. But he, I was like, hey, what's this Kings of War thing about? Like, it looks cool. So I played in my first Kings of War tournament or event 1 year ago this weekend. I'd played a couple games of like doubles and I kind of learned to play, but so yeah, 1 year ago this weekend, played at my first event, and then I've been playing since then.
Awesome. And I think you have lots of fans in the chat. So
yeah, I've been plugging
sure if you can bring them on. You can just bring the comments on screen and you can run through them as they've been trash talking in the chat.
Yeah. There's two Sams in Columbus, myself and Sam Kula. I'm Bald Sam. Sam Kula is Hair Sam.
Their
Sam
official
Kula
name
got second at U.S. Masters. So
their official name is the Sam's Club of Ohio.
Yeah, Sam. We have a group chat called the Sam's Club of Ohio. But yeah, I got really lucky that and you can see it like from the chat. I got really lucky that Columbus has an incredible scene for Kings already. With guys who have become some of my best friends in the last year. Like, not just like Kings. Like, I've gotten to know their wives and their kids, and like I've gone to their houses and we go out to dinner, and like my wife is now friends with all of these guys. And I like, not to like get ahead of other questions, but the thing that kept me was not the game. I love Kings. Kings is my favorite game. But it's the people is the reason I'm even like here right now. Even getting to know guys like Adam Ballard welcomed me and Kyle into his house to go to a tournament this past year. Adam lives 12 hours from us, and he was like, if you get here, I will feed you and how to show up. So we drove 12 hours to Adam's house, and I like slept in a bed at his house, and it was awesome.
That's the rule for Bug Eater. Thanks for plugging it. Get here, just tell me you're coming. I'll make sure you're fed and have a place to sleep.
Yeah, but I mean, like, in all seriousness, like, I had never met I met Adam in person once very briefly. And I walked into his house, and you would think that he was someone I'd known my entire life, like the way he like welcomed and received us into his home. So, yeah, I mean, the community is what has kept me.
Awesome. So let me run through the trash talking comments. Talking Tactics said, have y'all considered asking the less bald, slightly less handsome Sam on your show? Glad it's too much off that head. His head can't hide it. I'm assuming that's Sam Kula.
Yeah, that Sam Kula is the other Sam. He's actually that comment is wrong. He's better looking than me. Hitman that's a guy named Alex from Columbus. Contrary to Talking Tactics' name, he doesn't talk tactics. I agree with Alex.
The end times created the best times from them.
For those that don't know, Talking Tactics is Kyle Poole.
Right.
Wait, that's Kyle? Why is it not Dino Lord? What? Kyle?
He tried to do some tactics talk a long time ago.
Kyle's the best.
That's when there was Kings of War Worldwide. That was another channel.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that.
Honest Force Gaming, slightly less handsome indeed.
I'm pretty sure that's Sam Moore here talking in the chat for himself.
Maybe.
Hitman, contrary to Honest Force Gaming name, he's not honest. True. That's a lot of trash talk. It will be hard to get through all of it, so I'm just going to quickly flash them on the screen for anyone who's interested. X-Wing has a lot of Kings of War players. I've noticed that's from Kyle Poole. This is too young to be on this podcast. Kick Doom ironically. Q Team mentioned. How was Q Team? I bet you were diving into the rules of the game. Although you only had one game, right? How was Q Team?
So I played a decent amount with a friend of mine, and then I played like one game with Hitbang. Kill Team is really crunchy. Like the rules are like really like they're dense. I think it's a good game. Hitman will yell at me in person if I don't say that. But I do think it's a good game. It's just you have to it's really hard to like play casually, if that makes sense. Like you're kind of locked into like you have to sweat every game.
Yeah, and the rules are written like it's a legal document. If you notice, like every term is defined. So as much as we complain about Kings of War, the rules writing isn't extremely clear. But when it's too clear, it gets very chunky and very hard to read. Every sentence of the rule set feels like you are reading some legal definition. Was what I experienced a couple of years ago. But there's no room for argument on how it should be interpreted. It's just that it's really written very densely and very hard to digest.
Yeah, there's a really legendary moment in the Columbus Kill Team community where somebody who doesn't really show up to events anymore tried to argue that you can't climb down a ladder because he said the word climb implies going up. So people will try to be lawyers about Kill Team. But yeah, to your point, it's the rules are very clearly written, but he was trying to argue in the final round of a tournament that you can't climb down a ladder.
Jason Burr said Samuel has been too busy to play Kings. He's been playing Super Troopers 3. What is that?
It's a movie. It's the mustache thing. Everyone has a mustache from that movie. Also, shout out to Jason Burr. Jason Burr rules. He helped run Masters in the US this past year. Really great guy. So he's
I heard this year went off very smoothly.
And he has an event that he runs out of his backyard coming up in mid-September. So for those that are listening and might be in the area, definitely consider going.
In Minneapolis.
Be there. Yep.
Yeah, if you the same way that I would say that like Adam like welcomed me into his home in a way that made me feel like family. I promise you, if you show up to Jason's event, you will feel like one of his like a kid or a cousin of his. Like he'll take good care of you.
Just slightly off tangent, is this uniquely a Kings of War thing that people welcome each other so warmly in this community, or do you think it happens in other game systems?
I think it's an American thing.
You think it's an American
it's just the Americans. All right, sweet. We'll take that.
The Europeans, the Italians will hang out with the Italians, and the Brits will hang out with the Brits, and the Aussies and the Kiwis, and language issues, right? And
right.
culinary issues, other than that. But it's a very American thing to be so warm and welcoming. In fact, at Adepticon, the prize structure caught me by surprise because you gave the biggest prizes to the worst player. And I thought that was just absolutely fantastic. You know, it's very good for the community. So the Americans are very good at community building and whatnot. We have a lot to learn from them.
Awesome.
See, everything I've heard is we're just a bunch of assholes over here. I don't know.
What assholes? Well, still.
The best kind of assholes. Perfect. All right.
Yeah, I do think it's one of those things where Kings is such a niche community, right? Wargaming is a niche hobby, and then Kings is niche within wargaming. We're such a small community. A community like this is going to live and die by its ability to retain people who are interested. So the minute I expressed interest in Kings, Kyle Poole was like, show up on Monday and I'll teach you to play the game. This was like on like a Tuesday or a Wednesday we were talking. And then he rallied two other guys to play a doubles game with me. And like, taught me to play Kings. With like 3 people taught me to play Kings together. And then they made sure I had a game every Monday when we play for the next like couple of months. Like, hey, like just show up and we'll make sure you have a game. Like they worked really hard to include me. And in a game like 40K, which is a lot larger, you can afford to lose some people. Not that like you want to, right? Not to say that they're expendable. But the reality is, like a game like 40K, like if someone comes, plays a couple games, and doesn't come back, like your community doesn't suffer. But a game like Kings, where you may only have 4 or 5 people in your area that play, if you lose one of them, that's a huge loss to your ability to play the game. And at least in America, I can't speak to Singapore, but at least in America, what I've experienced is that what that has created is a community that really values the people that join.
Yeah, I think we value every single player that comes in too, right, Lam?
The other thing is that I think Kings of War, the communities tend to be more mature. You rarely get kids playing Kings of War, good and bad, right? So you got, I think Sam is the youngest, right? I'm probably the oldest, but average age, bro, 40, 35, 40 years old. So more mature group, it's easier to be more welcoming. You've got houses, you've got wives to spare. Not like some 18-year-old kid at a 40K tournament. There's no way they invite you to his house, right?
That's fair. That's fair.
All right. Let's talk more about your experience into Kings of War. So I'll start with Lam. So yeah, you shared a little bit earlier. So you went into X-Wing first, right? Because when
before
End Times
that,
happened,
in the 7th edition and 8th edition of Warhammer Fantasy, because when in Singapore we don't get official GW sanctioned events, so our tournaments are all local run, and our big tournament every year is ETC over in Europe, right? So in the ETC, miniature rules are very lax. You can play with anything as long as your opponent agrees. So I encountered Kings of War because of the miniatures. Not the elves. The elves are to this day still terrible, but the ghouls, the undead, right? Superb. The ghouls are superb. And because of our travel requirements, we need to fly 14 hours to some part of Europe to travel. We needed miniatures that don't break. So a lot of us, we used the D&D minis because they don't break, right? But D&D minis don't really look good unless you buy the big dragons and whatnot. But Mantic stuff was designed for gamers, so they no fragile bits, they don't break, inexpensive. So that's the first time we encountered it. The first generation of the Mantic stuff, really weird design. I still don't understand why they put it in video cassette plastic boxes. Isn't that more expensive? I don't know. It's some weird design choices. The elves are terrible, still terrible. Hope they change it. And so we relied on Mantic as a source of miniatures, especially the undead players. Even till this day, we still have a lot of undead players using Mantic miniatures. So that came about from the miniature standpoint. So if you ask most of the players here, we don't know anything about the lore. We're still very familiar with GW lore, right? But it's just for us, it's a great game system. Ideally, you combine GW lore with Mantic rule set, you had a perfect game.
I'd agree with that.
That's where we are stuck right now.
Yeah, Warhammer Fantasy lore was definitely awesome. It's so good.
Yeah.
I will say, to be the contrarian, I've actually gotten into King's lore a little bit in the last 6 months. I've read a handful of the books. And we've got a guy in Columbus, Rob Lloyd. Shout out to Rob. He's like our local lore guy. He reads all the books. We can just ask him lore questions, and he always knows, which is awesome to have in the community. The King's lore is not always well written, to be honest. A couple of the books, not the best literature I've read. But the world and stories are interesting. It's not as good maybe as some of the Warhammer Fantasy stuff. Probably it just isn't. But it's better than I thought it would be. I think I went in expecting it to be pretty rough. But I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the lore. And some of the stuff they've done around Fracture is pretty exciting for me. If you want a place to start, I always recommend people to start with Rise of the Celestians. That kind of gives the background to everything happening in Panathor. The first book they wrote was Edge of the Abyss, which is an anthology of short stories, some of which are legitimately really good, and some of them are hard to read. So that one's really hit or miss. But yeah. Also, on that note of lore, shout out to Mike Rossi from New York, who has wrote a couple of the lore books and is a great guy. But yeah, listen, I'm sure the Warhammer lore is better, but I do think King's lore is good.
I find that the anchor point for any story is the presence of very iconic characters, like Sigma, Magnus Kelgar, Khan the Betrayer rather, I don't recognize any of the Mantic guys. Maybe because, like with Zakali, who's the hero in Zakali? The hunter, right? Zorzoi. That's right. So I don't get that attachment to an army through the character, because the character is, well, bland. It's not like you have inside the army book 2 pages of backstory on Khan the Betrayer and his kill counter and whatnot. That's so cool, right? So maybe if there's any feedback on the how the book should be written, it's more backstory on the you don't need a narration of a battle story, that we can imagine it, but the characters, it's like watching a Hollywood movie. You watch it for the headliner, you don't watch it for the supporting cast, right? So the problem is that they always emphasize on the set piece, but who's the Jon Snow? Who's the Targaryen? Nobody knows.
I think you nailed it on the head, Lamb, where Warhammer definitely leaned into every named character that you could play on the table was fleshed out in a background, in a story, and potentially had a lot of story, and you could deep dive into the lore quite a bit on some of them, obviously more than others. But no, that's exactly what drew me into like the vampire counts for Warhammer, is because I learned about Manfred and I love Conrad. Vlad was a little bit too basic for me, so I was like, no, I want to be a hipster. I want to play the other von Karsteins. And
Isabella.
Yeah, Isabella's pretty cool too. So, but yeah, in Mantic, it's just one of those where it's like, we kind of know the name like Julius, but I don't know if there's really any source material that I can really directly go to and just point out and read a short story and get his background, right? So I think that just Warhammer leaned into that a little bit better, and they were around a little bit longer, so maybe Kings will eventually get to that. But at least right now, it's not there.
Not to be like the King's apologist, right? I'm not like a Mantic simp, but I do think there's an argument to be made that they're trying to slow roll some of it. So a lot of the books that they've done so far is like to set up what is happening, and I feel confident that going forward we will get more of that. Because I agree, I think Lamb is spot on, and Captain of the Warlord called it out in chat that I think Lamb, you're spot on that the way to get players to care about lore in a game is to focus on characters. I have Fred the Magnificent. I can read a book about Fred, and then I can paint Fred, and then I can put Fred on the table, and now I care about Fred. Now every game that I play with Fred, I know that Fred's wife's name is Gwen, and they have a dog named Adam Ballard, and they hate that dog a lot. But right, like that, I'm invested now, and I want to put the dog Adam Ballard on the board and back charge it. But like, you don't have that in Kings as much. But I do think the direction they are going is to try to build some of that out. They're behind the times a little bit on it. See, here's Rob. Here's Rob in chat. Rob in chat with the lore stuff. Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, I'm flipping through the fracture book. So Basileia is one of the factions, right? So there is a blurb about Julius and Samachris. And especially the newer release characters. Neas, who's been re-released, and what's this guy's name? Orion, and Estelle. So not a full book, just a short blurb. And there's one on Alanis as well. All right, that's a nice talk about the fluff, but let's talk about the rules. So Lam, when you being a Warhammer veteran and you went into X-Wing, at that time, part of the players tried War Hordes. Did you ever dip into War Hordes?
No, it's not. At the point in time, I think I'm a one system player. So if I decide to focus on Kings of War, I just play Kings of War exclusively. Right. Mm-hmm. So what is there to like and dislike? It's hard to say right now because Fracture is half baked. Half your armies are third, fourth third edition carryovers. So to say that we should say that what is Fracture is fourth edition complete? No, it's not, right? But is it a pretty decent cake? Yeah, it's pretty decent, right? I've played a lot of. I haven't played a lot, but as a hardcore competitive player, right? It's good enough for me, right? Yeah, there'll be people who complain about shooting rules, and well, nobody's stopping you from taking a shooting army. I don't understand the logic behind it. If you say shooting is broken, then go and take a shooting army. So I don't. If you find something broken, I think it's the duty of a competitive player to exploit it to the maximum. If you think that the flying frogs with the javelin, the issue, right, it is broken, then take it to the maximum. Yeah, there'll be people complaining you are exploiting the system. I think you should, if you're a competitive player. If you aren't exploiting the system, then you're not a competitor, you're a fluff player. Then maybe you should go and try a fluff game instead, right? So that's my perspective.
Reading out hard truths. What about when you came in? It was third edition still, right? And we're pretty close to the end of third edition. What was your impression of the game?
I like the chess clock system because any competitive game, chess, you need a chess clock, right? So straight away, X-Wing players will know the chess clock is vital, right? So you needed a time system. And there's not the glossary of the definitions, right? X-Wing has about 3.5 pages of it. So to me, that should be a basic. That should not be an option, right? If I would recommend, all Kings of War rulebooks should have a glossary. Specifically, every single term is defined clearly. I understand that that perhaps because the rules are these curated by volunteers, so there isn't this discipline or precision that should be required. But I hope over time there is a full glossary, a 3.5-page glossary, tighter rule set. It's quite tight already, yeah, but tighter rule set. And I think that maybe one thing they should have is that when people complain online about rules, imbalances and whatnot, are they doing it because of their own list, or are they doing it for the health of the entire game system? I sincerely doubt it's based on the health of the entire game system. Most people have 1 or 2 armies. They'll complain about what rule set affects them rather than taking an overall perspective. Having a rules committee that's based on gamers, and they're not independent, right? That is one of the downsides. You get affected by what's posted online, what your friends complain about. So the rules will keep on shifting because the rules by gamers will be always affected by complaints by gamers. Whereas if you have an independent committee, like independent team, like the Action guys and whatnot, then it's not so bad. But downside is the rules rotations, the points updates, the balancing takes forever. So we got to balance that.
What do you think would be a good balance? How do you balance that?
Too early to tell. You have to wait for all the books to come out. Play it another 6 months, 1 year, right? In proper competitive conditions, right? Get the Americans to play the Brits because everybody has a different gaming style, right? And then you come to a conclusion that okay, this is where. So the golden age of fourth will not happen until the end of this year or next year when all the books are out. Then everybody will have an overall perspective of where the most important is that they got to watch for power creep, right? So because your books are coming out every 6 months, there's going to be power creep. So as long as they balance it in a year's time, avoid the power creep issues, right? Then you're going to have the proper decision. So I don't understand why people complain, oh, this game is terrible. Why don't you wait? Maybe young people don't have the patience to wait. But wait a year when all the books are out, it's easy to say. It's like criticizing a game when it's in beta mode. It's ridiculous. So we are playing beta. So why don't we wait for version 1.0 to be fully out?
I guess some of the complaints are that they're playing an incomplete game right now. So why is the game incomplete upon release is probably some of the complaints.
Well, you think about it, Mantic is a pretty small company, right? So they have not only are they a small company, they have a small company with a very broad game range. So Ghost in the Shell, Firefight, Epic Firefight. I won't be surprised if the Epic Kings of War coming out soon. Hint, right? So you got a company who is so diverse, yet so resource strapped, trying to create a game system that satisfies a global audience in such complexity. Frankly speaking, it's a miracle they managed to make it so far, right? You compare to the other guy who's got 20-year head start, right? And they still can't get it right. So are we expecting a bit too much from a small company like that? The poor fella, Ronnie, right? That's his name.
Would you rather Mantic focus on a few flagship systems?
Well, their business model, we're diverging a lot, but their business model, I don't think allows them that, right? So the classic model of selling miniatures for a living, right? They basically stopped themselves from doing that because they wanted to take over 8th edition from 8th edition. They still haven't mastered that. If they had mastered the miniature side of the game, right, focus their resources, they would have generated far more money. The problem is that if you look at the miniatures right now, really, it's frankly some are absolutely amateurish, especially when you can look at some of the stuff on 3D printing, right? Or one-page rules. One-page rules is the newest kid on the block, but the quality of their stuff is consistent. It's well manufactured, at least for printing purposes. But they haven't. Well, we say in our part of the world, at least you got to walk before you run. The problem is that they haven't really mastered walking. They're still on the crutches, right? They're still relying on third parties to produce some of their images. And the quality, it's obvious. Some of you got really brilliant stuff. I love their Basilian Dragon. Absolutely superb. But isn't the Basilian Dragon a copy of the Void Lurker? Right? Or it's a copy of the Elven Dragon. So have they really put in the required resources to be a miniature revenue-driven company? No, I don't think so. So their business model requires them to have multiple game systems. But if that is what is needed to keep them alive, then more strength to them, so be it. I don't play other game systems, but I hope that they survive, because I don't want to end up like X-Wing or 8th edition and the business dies out in a decade's time. And all our effort here, wasted.
All right, thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing that insight. Before we move on to Sam, let's good comments. Kao Poo said the number of times I win a prize and hand it to the guy anyways, better off letting them win. That's giving prizes to new guys.
It's true. Kyle literally handed me the first time I met Kyle, it was on a street corner, and he handed me a cardboard box with models in it. Looking back, kind of sketchy, but it worked out.
The plastic crack drug deals, man. Jeez.
Yeah, it for sure looked like a drug deal. I was looking around, and he came up and it was like, here's the stuff, and I'm like, thanks. Box of plastic.
And just now, shots fired at the Mantic Elves from Lam and Caffeinated Warlock. John Paul Fuller Jackson there. Can't have a King's Chat without dissing the Elves. Who will be our punching bag when they finally redo them? Just now, when Lam was complaining about the recent 3D sculpts, almost Beast of Nature was almost mentioned. Make Elves Great Again by Adam.
Oh no, the dogs are far better than the elves. Far better.
Yeah, that Honest Forest Gaming guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
He's clearly dishonest.
Caffeinated Warlock says the dwarves I actually don't mind. I know multiple players who have painted those old dwarves models to look nice. I don't mind them either. I think they have a very distinct look, and some people just don't like that look. A very distinct style. Kalpu said that's the worst take you ever had, Sam. That's worse than the other Sam's take on Warrior Hordes. Caffeinated Warlock says, I feel like Warhammer Fantasy was lucky in being the first to mine world history for content. Anything after that has to somehow innovate or copy. I think it's referring to the lore of Warhammer Fantasy is sort of inspired by world history, even the geographical maps, and I think the history of different regions are all picked from history. I didn't dive into Warhammer lore that much. Is that true, Adam?
Can I make a comment or
Mm.
or a question? Is there a requirement for Mantic to come out with models that or designs for races that are unique? Because the like for example, the forces of nature, right? Everybody in the back of our mind, we had thinking beastmen, horns, satyrs, brown,
Mm.
but they came up with orange and green and cat guys, right? So is there a requirement for them to be unique? Is this requirement to be unique so overwhelming that you're expecting to see a certain style with a minotaur or a guardian brute, they call it, right? But it doesn't look like what we expect from world history. So is there this underlying? You must be unique if it's Mantic. I don't know.
I think what they are trying to do is they want to make it unique enough so that if you want to play them, you would buy Mantic models. There are less third-party options or even OGW options. So there's less inclination for you to just take out your old Beastman to play Forces of Nature or even buy third-party Beastman or similar rangers, because there are a lot of third-party sculptors and companies that produce alternative Beastman miniatures.
Bit
So I
worried for
think
the
they're
elves then.
trying to wait, which is why they took so long with the elves. I think their worry is how we gonna make, especially the mainline factions, right? The main line races, humans, elves, dwarves. What's taking them so long to redo them is like, well, if we redo them, there's so much competition out there on, let's say, Imperial dwarves. There's so many options out there. So, and for them to invest into the sprue kits, the tooling, it's going to cost so much. And if they don't sell enough units to even break even, then it's basically a loss and not worth the effort. Because if I'm not wrong, one set of tooling costs about $10,000. So how many sprues or how many boxes do you have to sell just to recoup that $10,000?
I wonder what the economics of the Zakalia, because it's a unique faction and it's very well done, ish, right? So if they can pull off a brand new faction with that kind of quality and caliber and backstory, I don't see why they can't pull off another unique faction instead of elves, dwarves, are dead, Empire of Dust kind of copies, right? So anyway, maybe they are coming out with something new.
Let's continue down the comments. Oh, Adam, go
I'd
ahead.
like to throw one thing in because I think I like the idea of doing something new or slightly different than what's already been done before. But then I look at the orc situation that we have, and in third edition, they had Riftforged orcs and orcs. And orcs didn't see any updates really for several years, and Riftforged was getting all of these updates and love. And then when fourth edition comes out, it's just orcs. Now they have some of the Riftforged units that are in there, but to me, it made zero sense why you wouldn't go with your own IP that you were driving towards already for several years, and now you're just kind of reverting back to the orcs. So I think that there's a little, one hand doesn't know what the other's doing potentially, and not a clear mission of what they want to accomplish with the overall game from a big picture standpoint. Because I agree. I think Zerkali was, it turns out a pretty unique faction, pretty good release. It sounds like the lore's good. And then we're just not seeing some of their other IPs that they have that they're kind of moving forward with, right? So I don't know if that's conscious choice or if that was just a complete oversight.
I was thinking when Riftforged orcs combined with Orcs, they were more going in the Riftforged direction. Like Riftforged Orcs are the default Orcs now, whereas the classic Orcs are just supplementary to the army. But we'll have to see how it goes because there's still a significant chunk of classic Orcs in the army list right now. And out of the two command orders, one affects both Riftforged and Orcs, while the other one only affects the normal Orcs, not the Riftforged, the Wild Charge order that is.
Responding to Adam's comment about Orcs, if they wanted to make it more unique, they would have focused more on the what the Cyclops guys call the big fellas, the 30 attacks.
Thunder Seers.
Right? Yeah, Thunder Seers. So if you wanted to make a unique non-GW, less on the Orc, more on the Thunder Seers. Who plays Thunder Seers? Virtually nobody. I haven't tried it. It's just an inferior unit. And the commands don't support them. The models are nice, right? And it gives it character. It's a unique IP, but it's just left on the shelf because the rule set, I think you're totally right. One hand is not talking to the other hand.
All right, moving on with comments because we have a lot to get through. Sam is almost out of names to drop. That's
factually untrue.
Captainated Warlock, there's a good take regarding the character focus. The chat is making Paige and Adam consider going pre-recorded episodes. Yes, there's a lot of chatter, but no worries, it's all good. Caffeinated Warlock says it's nice to have Orion and Estelle in Basileans, but that's literally the first instance of characters going into armies. I think we have more than that. I think there are more characters from lore going to armies. I think the Abyss character is also from the books. Lore is a lot simpler to layer in a codex with one army. Bloody Cardinal coming for the Elohai with his big belly. Time to go back to army books, one every 4 months. No, please, no. No. I guess when Mantic's done playing catch up with all the 20 or 20 plus factions, when it introduces new ones along the way, we'll be in a healthier state and we can go back to half yearly or yearly updates for every army all at once. My homies love Basileia. Orion and Estelle's lore super deep with the books. It's true. Basileia the goat. Weirdly anime Alanis. In the art, but the scout was terrible. Rob, I need you here with me defending Mantic lore. Who is Rob in the chat?
Rob, I think it's the Robstein. I'm actually Rob Stein. He's Rob Lloyd. He's one of the guys from Columbus. He's our local lore guy.
Caffeinated Warlord says Lam hitting with deep thoughts. Would we prefer playing 3.5 for another year while we wait? It would be good for the community compared to what we have now. Yeah, I think an edition change takes at least 2 years to flesh out. The fact of the matter was 4th edition was only seriously being worked upon after the last Clash book, right? So it only essentially had 1 year. So I think, but it will be hard, like what Lam said earlier, with a resource-strapped company to plan an edition out 2 years in advance while cycling out the Clash of Kings update. But preferably that would be great. Epic Kings of War would be epic. I'll see myself out. I know you can't wait to paint more epic. If we just make all armies goblin with extra steps, it's easy, balance is easy, fun is guaranteed. I have it solved. Kings of Goblins is what Kaupu said. He has many flavors of goblin armies, isn't it? Hitman says, speaking of elves, I'm starting an elf army right now. Banter between the Rockstein. FON are good, so I think they want to lean away from Beastmen. Well, you can just say the Beastmen in this world are good people.
Yeah, I think they actually had a cool opportunity to do a thing that other fantasy universes have done, but kind of like twist it. Right? You have other fantasy where Beastmen are evil, and I think they could have done like the good version of that, and it could have been cool. I'm with Lamb that them being cat people is why.
Way off the mark.
Well, and if you made them good, that in itself differentiates you from, GW or other game systems. And you could have some sort of lore as to why they're good, whether that's, through Basileia or some other faction that they were, or the Green Lady herself, something like that. So,
yeah.
Oh, Carl said time to go to bed. Can't wait to be mildly entertained tomorrow when I listen to 3 adults and Adam talk to me while I work. Adam says sleep tight. Ronnie is a trillionaire. He can afford the tooling. Kidding, of course. I think he's only a millionaire. Hitman. Oh, we have a new person in the chat. Trent in Reed.
Trenton. He's one of the Columbus guys. Right. Trenton is one of our main local orc players. Also a good friend. Trenton is great. Really good player. He's going to win Masters this year.
This year's Masters already over. So.
Well, next year, this Master cycle. I have this thing called MasterSight, so I'm already looking ahead to next year to master my sight. But yeah, it is strange. I think we talked about it a little bit earlier, but I think there's this weird thing that Mantic is trying to balance between like we don't want to get sued by Games Workshop, but we also want to like do we want to do stuff that people know. I think orcs they don't know what to do with that because they're like, how do we not get sued by Games Workshop, who is a very litigious company and is very ready to sue people, while having an army that people with established fantasy orc armies can just use. I do think it was a bit of a miss the way they handled Riftforge, and Trenton's going to talk about it in a second. But Thunderseers, it's just a huge miss, kind of the way they handled that.
I think Ronnie did mention in one podcast or another when they released Kings of War back in 2nd and 3rd edition, they were afraid that they might get sued for the armies that are similar to GW. So all those that were released, they were released in Uncharted Empires book. So if a lawsuit came their way, they could just pull Uncharted Empires off the shelf. But I think he's not that worried anymore, which is why all the armies are now all merged together since 3.5 in one source. I think they are quite confident that they are not just a GW copy anymore too. That being said, I don't think Games Workshop owns the IP of Beastman, right? So there are lots of beast-like. Yeah. There are a lot of... Well, they're still technically satyrs. They're just cat satyrs now. Horrible mix, but...
I was going to say, didn't Chronicles of Narnia do that first? So.
Yeah, you could have based a Forces of Nature army on Chronicles of Narnia, and I don't think anybody would complain, right? Make the centaurs a sentient lion, right?
That's basically what the Avatar is right now, isn't it?
Standing lion, yeah. And then use Greek mythology or style for the tribal warriors instead of anime cats.
All right, let's skim through the remaining comments. It's just a few more to go. Reforged are completely separate from the Aug units. Haley says, Trenton, welcome to the chat. Who's Haley?
My wife.
Hello.
Perfect timing.
She's the best. Hey, My wife spent the whole weekend at US Masters hanging out with everybody. She'll be at Masters again next year. She
Awesome.
bring your spouses and partners to Kings of War tournaments. It's the best.
Yeah.
Or just your friends.
Shout out Josh LaFoon did that as well. I played a bunch of games with him and his wife. Yeah, it was awesome. So
Underseers desperately need the Forge trade. Haley, can you bring me another Guinness when you get a sec? That's why I know so little about Kings, always fighting, never gaming. Most of the generic fantasy races predate GW, that's for sure. Or Tolkien inspired, right? Tolkien-esque. All right.
Majority
with
are
that,
Tolkien for sure.
Yeah.
Let's move to Sam.
Yeah.
What were your initial thoughts? Just focusing on the game itself, what were your initial thoughts coming into Kings of War 1 year ago? 1 year ago is really literally at the end of 3.5.
Yeah, I went to 1, 2, 3 tournaments before 4th edition. But we play a ton in Columbus. Columbus probably plays more than that I know of any other like local scene in the US in terms of like volume of games. Someone joked in our Discord this week that we play more games in a week than some regions play in a year. I think he was thinking of one specific region, but that was for you, Adam. Yeah, so I played my first game, and I remember like the movement rules feeling so foreign to me. Like you can move and you can pivot, and I think that 3rd edition movement was kind of clunky compared to 4th. But also I was like, I've mostly played 4th, so like I didn't have the full time to get used to 3rd. But it felt kind of clunky to me. It felt really, really unintuitive to play. But I loved it. I remember being like, I don't understand any of this, but I can tell that it's awesome. I very quickly was like, I want to get better. Like I want to know what these guys are doing. It scratched the same kind of itch that chess does in a way. And I'm not like a good chess player by any means. Like I'm not like, I never played chess seriously. I play chess very casually, but I really enjoy chess. And King scratches kind of that same itch of, hey, like it's this really tactical way of thinking. You can plan out your turns in a specific way. And so if I can play chess with little fantasy war dollies, I'm like, what could be better, right? So I actually think chess needs a snake eyes. I think that would really make chess more exciting. But yeah, so I think my initial impression was the game is really unintuitive. Particularly, I've never played a rank and flank before, so it's really unintuitive. But then, like I said, I got lucky that I was surrounded by people who play the game, frankly, an obscene amount. So I had a lot of opportunity to learn. But I do think it's a very hard onboarding for a new player without a community around them. So I coached esports for a number of years, and one of the games I coached was League of Legends. I think it's similar in that way. That like I don't know how a new player starts to play League of Legends. The learning curve is insane. I started playing in like season 2, so no one knew what they were doing. But you start playing League of Legends now, and you don't have somebody to teach you. I don't know how you learn. And I feel that way a bit about Kings. Especially like, I mean, all of you guys have been wargaming since before I was born. So there's a lot of just like background knowledge to catch up on. That like Lamb, I'm sure I don't know, maybe you didn't. I'm curious for your thoughts on this. Like, did you feel like when you started playing Kings that your experience playing Warhammer Fantasy carried over? Like, do you feel like playing Warhammer Fantasy first made you better at Kings?
The later editions of Warhammer Fantasy and Kings of War First Edition or 3 or currently 4th edition, they're fundamentally different games. If you watch, if you go and see an oval game, they're talking about 9 discrete units, and one purple side goes through, you basically kill half the units on the table. So you would say it's a very Street Fighter kind of game, whereas Kings of War is chess. So you don't make tournament games out of Street Fighter. I mean, Street Fighter, there is a tournament online, right? So it doesn't.
I've made money playing Street Fighter.
Yeah, so you made a bad analogy. Did it really make a difference? Even if you flank charge a unit in Warhammer Fantasy, it wasn't end of the world. You tried in this game, it's a world of difference, right? So it's a proper rank and flank game compared to a Fantasy and Old World.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I've started playing Old World recently, and it's very fun. But it does they do feel very different. But I never played Warhammer Fantasy, so I wasn't sure if that difference was the same there also. But yeah. So I think my initial impressions were I want to learn about this, but I don't know anything, and I'm really bad. And I asked Kyle Poole maybe a month into me playing. I was like, "Hey, can you play me like we're playing in a tournament? Like, I want you to beat me so bad that I don't want to play anymore. Like, I want you to do that to me." And I kind of held my own. I had some plays down the stretch that I was like, I maybe could win this. I didn't. Kyle ended up, I think, maybe tabling me. But on turn 4, I was like, this is looking pretty good. And then it wasn't. But I did the same thing with Eric Trowbridge maybe a month later. And I got a really lucky kill early on that kept me in that game. Still lost it. But I think I came in with a mindset of how can I improve? So I improved fairly quickly. I actually just got second at a Kings tournament this weekend. Went undefeated. I actually tied for first, but lost out on a tiebreaker. I performed okay at Masters. I've done pretty well on a handful of tournaments. Bug Eater in Omaha notwithstanding. But I think it's doable to pick up the rules quickly and have people around you that can help you learn quickly. But I do think that is a fairly unintuitive thing to do because our brain doesn't think in those terms. Our brain doesn't think in terms of ranks and flanks and arcs you can see out of and pivoting around 90 and all of those things. It's a new way of thinking, but a good way of thinking.
Yeah, it's definitely a new skill you have to apply towards in order to accomplish. So, but similar to what Lamb said, there are some small things that carry over from fantasy to Kings of War, but to quote Eric Trowbridge, the geometry of this game is completely different. Where you do pivot around your center, there's wheeling in GW. You can make your units any shape and size in Old World, where you have set choices in this one. So, it is 100% a game within itself that you need to learn mechanics for, and there's really no other games I can think of off the top of my head that have applications that you can just kind of carry over. So it is its own unique tool set.
Yeah.
We had cases of players coming over from Kill Team and Warhammer 40K, and they had problems adjusting to geometry. But we had a fairly mature player coming over from X-Wing, and to him it was easy because X-Wing is arcs and squares and pivots and whatnot, right? And turns. So it really depends on your background.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting the kind of backgrounds, even outside of gaming, that people have that they can incorporate into wargaming. So I think being good at math makes you better at Kings of War. Actually, being able to, especially on the clock, be able to quickly calculate 30 attacks on 3s, crush 2 to a defense 5 unit. I know that. I can do that. It's gonna be a 5 twice, and I got it. Right, being able to do those things quickly, I think helps. But then I have a philosophy background, and I think in a way that helps me, a way of critical thinking and examining the games. I think a rule set like Kings, in a way that I think other war games don't, and I have some reasons for that, but that's kind of tangential. But I think a game like Kings enables people to think about the game a lot of different ways, which empowers a lot of different backgrounds. We argue about Kings a lot in our Discord server. Lovingly, we argue about Kings literally all day. It's not uncommon that if you don't check the chat by lunch, there'll be 400 messages. Ballard and nodding because in Discord and he knows. Like we'll have any given day 10, 20 people arguing about units and lists. Since I've been on here, people have been posting lists in our chat and talking about them. And Sam Kula and Trenton are arguing about orcs right now. And the fact that you can do that Kings is a game system where you can disagree so much is actually really good. So to Lamb's earlier point, like people who are complaining about balance and fourth, and I'll anticipate a little bit, Paige, what I think your next question will be about the transition to fourth for me. People complain about fourth. I think the fact that fourth isn't solved yet means it's a good game. Like going into Masters, everyone was worried about the elves, right? U.S. Masters. When I say Masters, I mean U.S. Masters. But going into U.S. Masters, people were worried about the elves, right? You had Ballard running elves. You had, Jason Bourbon doing well with elves. You had people were so worried about this strong elf shooting meta. And then and Rats did win. People were worried about Rats too. And yes, Rats did win, but also Sean Troy was really good. But like, I think some of the things we were really worried about didn't do as well as we thought they would. The elves did not perform amazingly at Masters. I think Keith Randell was the highest placing elf player. I think you saw armies that people did not expect to be as good perform well. Northern Alliance performed fairly well at Masters. An army that going into Masters, I did not think was very good as a Northern Alliance player. Zerkali did all right at Masters. And pre the Fracture update, I did not think Zerkali were very good. I think the fact that people can talk about Kings so much and think about Kings so much and still be wrong means something. That it's an important. But yeah, the transition to fourth for me was like great. We played so many games of fourth. A couple of us traveled out to a tournament in New York, dead of winter, by Mike Rossi, out there in Albany, like 2 weeks after fourth launched, in the middle of a blizzard, and Sam and I quickly realized that we had played more Kings than everyone else in the room, or more fourth edition than everyone else in the room combined. Like actually, like we had both probably played 20 games by that point in the first like 2 weeks of fourth. And all of my opponents that weekend were like, yeah, this is like my third game of fourth. I'm like, oh gosh. Fourth, and maybe it's because I was starting to learn Kings, but fourth immediately felt natural to me. I think the movement felt really good. I love the double pivot. I think there's some things I could clean up. I think the aim rule is weird. I don't love the aim rule. I do think aim gives some more balance points. I actually think there's a world where aim and steady aim can coexist and give them some more ways to balance units. But I've loved fourth. I think fourth is the best game I've ever played. I could play fourth the rest of my life and be happy. Movement feels amazing. Army balance is army balance, right? Armies will be good, armies will be bad. But even then, like, we're often wrong about army balance. We weren't wrong about rats. Rats are broken. Rats were broken. We weren't wrong about those. But like, a lot of people would have sworn up and down that like Zerkali were terrible. Not everyone. Ballard maybe disagrees with me on that. I know you like your Gaklu, but people would have sworn up and down that Zerkali were terrible. Then people have done really well with Zerkali at events, even before the Warrior Pack Hordes.
And they were running Gaklus, just saying.
I know. I hate Gaklu. Gaklu's so bad. I'm bringing it as a joke to our next event because I don't need another good one day to qualify for Masters. So, but yeah. So I don't know. That's the fourth transition was really good for Columbus specifically. I know, and around the U.S., a lot of scenes have shrunk in the fourth edition transition. We've actually grown quite a bit. We average anywhere from 8 to 16 players on a Monday night. We run a blitz event every other month on a Monday night where it'll be a 3-round like speed games. So you bring like 1,000 to 1,200 points. You play 3 rounds, 20 to 25 minutes on the clock on a Monday night. So you get there, we start at 6, we're done by 9:30. It was a great way to spend a Monday night. We had like 20 people at one of those who showed up on a Monday on a work night to play Kings for several hours. So the fourth edition transition has been really good for us, and I think some of that is fourth is in my experience at least, teaching new players and being a newer player. Fourth is a more intuitive way of thinking about movement specifically than third was.
I'll chime in from there, but before that, let's go into some comments. First one is geometry mentioned. Drink. Apparently, there's a drinking game based on keywords being mentioned. I wonder what other keywords are on
Geometry
the
specifically.
Blame Adam. He's the one that said it first. Or was it? What was it, Sam?
It was me.
Adam.
It was me. And
don't put that on me.
It's not just for the memes. It actually is true. So.
Hitman says literally charge based on vibes. Never bites me. Makes sense why Sam with hair is so good at this. If math is what makes you good. Adam says analytical thinking and quick problem solving are skills that greatly improve your gameplay. Hitman, I win and lose based on how the dice go. There's no in between.
Hitman and I played final round top table of our tournament this weekend. I won. And I will be honest. You ever play one of those games where you probably don't deserve to win, but your opponent's dice decide that you're supposed to win?
Yes.
He put like 800 points into 2 of my troops and didn't kill either of them. And then I just so he in Hitman's defense, he may sometimes win or lose based on how the dice go.
Yeah, but we all know that good players just don't do that, right, Sam?
Good players don't do that.
There you go.
Oh, you snake the devastated beast of nature. Good players don't do that.
All right. Regarding movement, I've played. My background is I played a year of Warhammer Fantasy, and then I decided I was playing the ETC style that Singaporeans will play, and I choose factions mainly based on aesthetic. I'm a competitive player, but I choose factions based on aesthetic. So I played Lizard Man. At first, I wanted to play Skaven because I thought Ninja Rats look cool. The store owner says if you play Skaven, you got to paint a lot of rats. That's not very advisable for new players. I was like, all right, look around and I thought the Aztec lizards look cool. So I played Lizardman for a year, and then I realized that for ETC they have comps for every army, right? They have house rules to balance out every army, and because of those comps, and I think because of how mature the scene is, I think every faction is kind of solved straight away. Like, oh, if you're playing this faction, this is how you're supposed to play. This is roughly the units you're supposed to bring, and it's because it's a team tournament, right? Then your role in the team is this. I think it's a defender. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lam. You just kind of fight the opponent's killy armies and hope to lose less, so that your killy teammates win more against the enemy. So I was like, I don't quite like that. So I moved to War Mahorts at the time. That was what I heard was the next best competitive game out there. That's almost 13 years ago now. So I played that for 3 years. I got sick of it. And I came back to Kings of War. And immediately I felt very uncomfortable with the movement because War Mahorts is basically skirmish style movement. Your guys can move in any direction. So it took me some time to get back into moving with restriction, right? You move forwards, you pivot, or you wield back in Warhammer Fantasy, but basically the idea is the same. You have a restriction of how your blocks can move. So it took a while to get used to that again. So I can imagine how it takes for a new player to get used to that even from the beginning. Yeah, so that, and 4th edition having that double pivot does make it easier. So I'm pro double pivots for 4th edition because of the fact that it makes it easier for new players to get into the game. I understand that there's a lot of loss in complexity of the game due to that, and a loss of differentiating factors between veteran players and new players, because veteran players tend to trip themselves up less with a single pivot. But now that everyone gets to double pivot, it's harder to trip yourself up. But I think a game should be more than just whether you trip yourself up in movement. so there are other complexities of the game that can differentiate between a pro and a new player. So I don't mind that. And yes, Kings of War is much closer to chess than fantasy or whatnot, right? There's already quite a lot of stability in the way the game plays. So I see a lot of people complaining about command orders being 2 dice. So that's the people who hate main chance on 2 dice. They're like, oh, it fails so often. Now the whole game is based on that because of the command orders. But I think that's a what do you call it? Unpredictable dynamic in the game that is acceptable, because that's 25% chance of failure. 75% you get it, and then your game revolves around what if that 25% happens, and there's a lot of ways to overcome that, because if you don't get your command off, you change, because it's in the movement phase, you can change your strategy on the fly, and so it tests your ability to change your decision making, change your tactics on the fly, or you could move another character to try that command again, and there's a lot of flexibility in that. And even commands that go off on a 5+, right? It's not easy to get it on 2 dice, but hey, if you have 2 characters trying it twice, that's essentially rolling 4 dice at the command, hoping to get it off. So there's a lot of trying and tactics around that. And I think that is a new part of the game that has been added in. Yeah, anyone would like to?
Yeah, I think so. An interesting thing for me. So my background, like I said, is in gaming, is in esports. So fighting games specifically is kind of where I cut my teeth, and it's so interesting coming from that background. So I specifically played Super Smash Brothers Melee, which still has an active competitive scene. People are still innovating. So Melee came out, I think, 22 years ago. Has not received a balance patch since then. The game is what it is. Over the last 2 weekends at major tournaments in the U.S., Supernova and one in Canada, one in the major tournaments in North America, Supernova and Get On My Level, a 19-year-old kid who was not yet born when the game came out, placed very well with Luigi, who was widely considered to be a bad character in Melee. Historically, he's pretty low on the tier list, was not considered very good. 22 years after the game came out, no balance updates, a kid who was not yet born when the game came out was like winning events with a character everyone thought was bad for 22 years. So when Kings players complain about things, it's really funny to me sometimes, because just try stuff, learn the game. Kings is like this awesome sandbox we can like play around in, like try different things and innovate. And I do think there's a bit of a mindset sometimes in the wargaming community of, well, just fix it for us. Oh, rats are too good. Fix rats. I don't know. Maybe figure out a list that can beat rats. Like, oh, shooting's too good. To Lamb, I can't remember if we were on stream yet when Lamb said it or not, but oh, shooting's too good. Okay, well, then play shooting. Like, if you want to win, like if shooting's too good, then play shooting. Or if you think shooting's too good, then run Abyss with regen, or, play an Alpha army and just run at them. Right? Like, it's not always going to work, but I think there are options into these things. And I think Kings players and wargaming players in general are really quick to complain and beg Mantic to fix it. But sometimes, like, just try stuff, see what works, and don't, like, I don't know. That's just kind of my take on the balance cycles and what's broken, and try stuff.
Mantic should be happy that people are complaining, because if you complain means you're invested. If you can't be bothered to only complain, you just leave the game. So it's a good sign, right? And people will always complain. Beggars will complain. You give him a buck, why don't you give me 2? Why don't you give me 5 yesterday? So this is life as it is.
Right. I'd like to.
I was going to say that one of the things that draws you into Warhammer Fantasy or 40K or any game system is that unit or character that gives you that wow feeling, you know. In the early days of Kings of War First Edition, they tried to make everybody very similar. So stat profiles were always very similar, and the characters were anonymous at best, right? But now with the commands and some of the new units that give you that real wow factor, and I hope they continue that, and I hope they recognize that that's an important part of fantasy wargaming. This is not Napoleonics where there is no real differentiation between units, right? Or World War II ball action. So, for example, if you get a Primal Choir, I thought that's fantastic design. The Basilian Infantry Horde, Slayer Horde, fantastic, you know. It's a unit that makes you ponder, because I suspect nobody's arguing about the cost points of a Spearman unit. Nobody will, because it's vanilla unit. But I hope they add more of these really fantastical, you know, attention-grabbing units. Khan the Betrayer. You know, the Lord of Lies had the potential to be what do you call the Cornate Demon, the big fella. They're kind of terrifying. But he's not really that terrifying, right? So you know, you look at the model, looks cool, but is he Bloodthirster level kind of terrifying? Yeah. I think that the background of they are trying to make everything on an even, but I suspect you can afford to make 1 or 2 units per book, per army, extreme, and they don't do that, which is a pity because people buy extreme. You know, the Slave One, for example, the Bloodthirster, the Khan the Betrayer, right? All these extreme units, people buy that. You know, you don't, if not, like even in chess, there's an extreme unit, the Queen, right? Or there you go, right? The Queen. So I don't see why they can't go into an extreme unit and keep on putting vanilla over everything. Nobody eats an entire meal full of vanilla, right? You need a bit of salty, you need a bit of spice. It lacks spice.
Preach, Lamb. Preach. Give us warlords. Give us amazing warlords that just.
You want to be terrified of Bloodthirster? Not. I mean, the Lord of Lies. Yeah, fantastic model, but really, is anybody really afraid of it? Yeah, okay, don't let it get the flanks. But you want a Bloodthirster? You say, "Oh, bugger, the guy's coming." You need to think about it. You know. Yeah.
Hide your kids. Hide your wives.
Hey, I actually feel kind of the opposite. I agree, Lamb, 100%. People buy extreme. To use a North American sports analogy, you can hate the Golden State Warriors all you want, but everyone was watching. Right? What's that quote from the pro bowler? The you love me or hate me, you still watched. Right? Like people love the extremes. People love, you know, a dynasty. They love when the Golden State Warriors win a lot. People loved watching, good or bad, when Man City won 4 straight Premier League titles. People watch. But I don't know if that's what Kings is. Because one of the things that I like is that it's not a hero hammer game. I think my worry would be like one of the things that I felt like in third sometimes when I first started playing was that like your individual heroes were like all over the place and they were flying around and killing stuff. And I love like fantasy literature. I grew up on Tolkien and Lewis and all of that, and I love kind of these like this grounded, realistic feel of these like high fantasy battles. And in the high fantasy battle, your hero isn't going to go kill a horde, right? Like Aragorn is not running into a horde of orcs and killing them. He might take out a few on the way out, but he can't kill 30 orcs in one go. So I actually really enjoy the fantasy of it, that it feels a little more grounded now. And I think we can find other ways to kind of get that extreme you're getting at. But I think I would worry if they went to kind of what you and Ballard are talking about Ballard's pitched ideas for a while now of these like really strong warlords. And we've argued about it a little bit. I think you and Sam Kula have more than you and I have, but I feel somewhat similar to Sam on it that I actually like that heroes feel pretty grounded in Kings. That so that I don't know if I'm right or wrong about that, but I think as they push back to that, I think I'm maybe the other side of that lamb of like, yeah, like I think there could be more room for some more heroic gameplay, but I don't know if I would want kind of what Warhammer had in terms of these like big epic heroes that are game changing. I know Ballard wants that. Sounds like you, which is fine. Like I don't know if it's like right or wrong, but my opinion would be that I don't know if I would want that.
And it doesn't have to be heroes. I think Warlord is just a premier spot that could be utilized a little bit better towards that. But like Lamb had mentioned, there's new units like the Primal Chorus and the Horde that Basilion gets. I think, adding those types of things into the game are fun and unique and add flavor to armies where nobody else has this one thing. Right? There's some similarities through other armies, but it's that one thing is that armies and that theirs alone.
Yeah, and I think Mantic can still do that pretty well without introducing a lot of special rules that super unique, super like I need to know what this does. And even if you know a specific very special rule that's unique to this army or this particular unit, it doesn't alienate the way you play the game. It's like, oh, I don't know how to play against that at all. Like you still have a rough idea. Okay, this guy hits pretty hard. He has this janky thing but I think I can still handle it. So
yeah,
and yeah, like Adam said, Warlord is obvious choice where you can play with that because the game only allows 1 or 2 warlords, right? So you can go a little bit crazier in the warlords space for sure. Even if they're a little bit too strong, you're only limited to bringing 1 or 2. And if every army can bring 1 or 2 powerful warlords, why not? Yeah.
As a thought, this conversation I think is made me think about these kind of conversations about Kings where we disagree on things, right? Like Ballard and Lamb and then me, like kind of disagree on maybe the direction we might want to see like Warlords go. That's totally fine, right? That's actually really healthy for a game that we disagree. It would be bad for the game if we agreed on everything. I think when we think about going back kind of the original idea of this conversation today, like the new player experience, one of the things that if you're watching this and you are part of a scene that's not doing well, which I know is a lot around the US are not doing well, like, how do I get new players? How do I, attract people? How do I get people to want to play Kings of War? The way we talk about the game in public spaces is really important because at some point, perception becomes reality. And if your perception of Kings is that Kings players are angry and they're complaining all the time and they're always bickering and they're mean to each other, which if you read the Kings of War Fanatics Facebook page, that would be your perception. It's gotten a little bit better recently, but when I first joined, it was not good. And when 4th launched, it was not good. If I started playing Kings at the 4th launch, I would have stopped playing Kings because people were so negative in the way they talked about the game. So I think when we think about like the new player experience, the way that and now I would include Lamb and I as veterans of the game, right? We've been playing for a year or longer, and we go to events and we care about this game. We come to love this game. So when we as veterans of the game, I think actually have a responsibility to talk about the game in public spaces in a way that is attractive to new players. So like when we disagree, like we can do it civilly. I think it's good for new players to see if there's room for disagreement, but I would encourage, if you're watching this and you're like, I want to grow my scene. The biggest way we grew Columbus is by telling everyone who will listen that Kings is awesome and by being nice to each other. And we disagree all the time. I have been arguing with Sam and Trenton and others about Zerkali hordes for like 2 weeks. It's become like a bit we're doing. It's really annoying. We argue about them constantly. We disagree on a ton of stuff. But we do it in a way that if you have never played the game before, you'd be like, oh, those guys all like each other. And they all like this game. and we invite you into the conversation instead of just having like a shouting match.
We brought in a new player, and he's not a painter, so he used to play X-Wing, the same fella. And the way we got him in was we introduced him to Night Stalker's Monster Mash. So the fella ordered 3 terrors, a Void Lurker, and a whole bunch of butchers, right? So in a way, big sells. This is my point exactly, because you had less models to paint, and everybody loves to grab a terror, big and chunky. Mantic does very big chunky fellas, right? So it's the same as when I casually watch a 40k player. It's always the knights running around. Where's the humble Imperial Guardsman? Or it's always the big chunky dreadnoughts and one fella. So I like the Titans in this game. They're terribly good fun. We are a friendly bunch because Singapore, we don't have that many, and we know most of each other, and most of us are friendly with each other, and we're mature enough to realize at the end of the day, it's just a bloody game. So no need to get too worked up about it. You know, if you think it's unfair, please exploit the unfairness, and nobody will blame you for it.
So I see a lot of trash talk about Zakadi. I would like to
warrior troop undercosted.
Dude, warrior pack troops are amazing.
Yes, yeah.
They are 15 attacks, speed 7 strider on 4s, crush 1. You can give them thunder 1. They can trigger the brutal 2 command. They're 120 points. Defense 4, nerve 12. They are one of the best chaff pieces in the game, and they can kill stuff. And the first round of the tournament we played on Saturday, my opponent did not respect them, and I won't name who it is, but she moved a unit, and she's a good player. I actually lost my last tournament game against her a couple months ago. She moved a unit out, Kaisner Lancer unit, and offered the flank as bait, not thinking that a warrior pack troop in the flank would kill a Kaisner Lancer. And then I just one-shot it. It's like, cool, what now? Like, Lamb, they're so good, dude. I love that unit.
I approve of troop gaming anywhere and everywhere. Keep the troops coming.
Pound for pound, probably the best infantry unit in the game.
Whoa. Lower abyssal regiments with the bad touch command. What do you do about that? They're so good.
Yeah, but they can't kill stuff. Yeah,
you can't kill it.
Yeah.
That's what the rest of the army does.
We have a lot of problems with abyssals in Singapore. We can't. Maybe it's our play style in Singapore, but we can't settle on a good game winning list. Paige has been trying for. Paige wins all the time, but Paige loses all the time with abyssals.
I have not gotten them to work. I'm still losing all the time with abyssals.
Have you played much since Fracture, Page? Because they're like the big bad right now. They are so good.
I've been playing, but I couldn't get them to work because I don't know if it's the particular matchup, but every time I get Ultimate Betrayal off, it wasn't a big hindrance to the opponent because it was just cool. I'll just charge a chaff and a hammer unit in, and I'll overrun the chaff forwards, and my hammer is still in relative safety. So I haven't gotten my head around how to get Ultimate Betrayal and Blessing of the Dark Gods to work, because a lot of times I'm like, if I'm gonna do Blessing of the Dark Gods, sure, I will have a very good chance to kill the unit I'm trying to kill, but I'll take 4 or 5 wounds, which means my hammer would die to not even a hammer, just a normal unit hitting me would kill me. So I'm still struggling with that, because like if I would want my hammer to kill, I'll just do my Dark Pit and Bane Chant to kill the unit rather than to have 4 or 5 wounds on my hammer, which will just die to a stiff breeze the next turn. So every time I did Ultimate Betrayal, it wasn't a big hindrance to the enemy, because
isn't Adam the guy who talked about using Abyssal Guard Hordes as the core?
Yeah, and I saw in UK Masters, Chris Lynch did well with a 12 drop Abyssal list featuring 2 hordes of two hordes of Abyssal Guard. So maybe that's the one that I have to try, but that's the one I'm least inclined to because I have 0 Abyssal Guard models painted.
And then how's the experience with the Abyssal Guard?
Whose experience? Adam is just theory crafting at this point. He's not been playing much.
So I looked at Abyssal Guard and I compared them almost directly to Palace Guard as far as offensive output. They don't have the elite, but they have quite a significant defensive upgrade because even though they're 1 nerve lower, the regen 5 up is pretty disgustingly good on that high of a nerve with that much of a defensive value. So
and the command to increase the regen.
Yes, so it's one of those where it has a lot of potential, but I think that the Abyssal Guard is a build that you could easily lean heavily into that style of play, and you can go with some, the Lord of Lies, or not Lord of Lies, the Well of Souls. You could do Cronius. You could try to just stack a lot of this wound recovery options that the Abyss have kind of uniquely to them at this point. But it's also a lot of all your eggs in one basket type thing too. So and it's going to be a very elite army in about like a 2 foot or so square of the board. It's going to be a brick wall basically. But the rest of your army is, it's a lot of support pieces to make that happen. So
yeah, I think there's the thing that I like about the new Abyssals compared to maybe some other armies is it feels like they have some really cool options in this building. Like some armies, it's like, you have 1 or 2 things. But it feels like Abyss, I think there's a lot of stuff you can do. I think Abyssal Guard Hordes are good. I think Hellhounds are good. I got tarred and feathered for suggesting that you could maybe play Lord of Lies. I don't know if Lord of Lies is good, but I think there's like a list you could build there where he's fun at least. He's too expensive, but
he's my favorite warlord right now. Like he actually makes, he tickles my fancy. So
yeah, so I don't know. I think it's really fun. Like I think they're the perfect example of how an army should be designed. That you have a couple different distinct play styles. I think they tried that with Zerkali too. I don't know how well it worked. I think the alpha, now that Warrior Pack Hordes exist, I think Alpha Zerkali is just, I don't think doing Chakram Hordes is necessarily the move anymore. But all I have to say, I think that it's really cool. I love what they've done with Abyssals. They're a little overtuned. They probably use a couple of nerfs here and there, but
now, Dibs, you just got done saying that people keep complaining and wanting Mantic to fix their problems. Don't be calling for no nerfs now.
Hey, there's a difference between saying that could use a nerf and going on Kings of War fanatics on Facebook and saying that I'm gonna set my house on fire if Mantic doesn't do something.
I've not found success in Abyss yet. Perhaps I have to build a Abyssal Guard Horde kind of list and give it a try. The last thing I played was a speed list, 3 Hellhound regiments, 2 Berserker regiments, Abyssal Horseman with J boots. One of the Berserkers have Brew of Sharpness, and
that goes crazy.
Lord of Lies, because I really want Lord of Lies to work. Lord of Lies did decently. Still a 13 drop list. My last game, I was forced to charge and fight pretty much the whole game in Forest. So it was not good at all because I'm a speed list that doesn't hit that hard, and then with Hindered, I don't kill, and then my whole army's defense 4, it just crumbles from that. And just my opponent having 1 air elemental regiment just kept me at bay because the air elemental regiment can one-shot anything. With Bane Chant, Strider support, it has the potential to one-shot any of my units. And then he just parked it behind a troop of Earth Elemental and I can't touch it. So I had to move up very cagily just because of that. He asked me why did I put my gargoyles up front. I said, because I have to screen against your air elementals. That's if without the screen, I can't even move my units forward. You can just pick your choice of killing any one unit and then turn to face. Yeah, so it was terrible for me. I was thinking back, if I have to fight in terrain, it's just my list just falls apart. So
have you thought about playing an army with army-wide Strider, and then you can ignore terrain? Might I interest you in Zerkali? No, but
I have some forces of nature. So the thing about me is I don't play armies that I don't have models for. So as much as a competitive player that I am, I will focus on the armies that I own or that I want to build. So I have Orcs purchased at the end of 3rd edition, but they are still on the shelf now. So it's about
if I'm not mistaken, Paige, you currently have Abyss, Force of Nature, and Goblins, which I would argue are the top 3 armies. So if you can't find a winner out of that, I don't know what to say.
I've won with Goblins. So I've promised the community to retire Goblins because I played it for the last 3 Clash of Kings Asia. So that's why I'm finding my next army. Forces of Nature I haven't updated in a while, so I was contemplating whether to go back to Forces of Nature if Abyss doesn't work out. I'm thinking about Basileus too. Not very exciting, but I felt that the army is quite stable, so I might want to give that a go. If that doesn't work, Forces of Nature it is, but Forces of Nature is kind of like a bandwagon faction right now. I like to be hipster, so.
On the note of Force of Nature being a bandwagon faction and the new player experience, I have heard stories of at least 2, and these are just people that I have heard of by name, who started playing Kings around the launch of 4th or the end of 3rd, picked Forces of Nature, then lost units when 4th came out, felt confident that they were going to keep the stuff they had when 4th came out. Then the Fracture book drops, and they lose more units, and Guardian Brutes get a new base size, and the way Mantic has treated specifically Forces of Nature in terms of like changing hobby stuff is so anti-new player. So at least one of these guys like that I heard of literally just like stopped playing the game because he's like, I just built this army, started painting this army. And now stuff I was building that was here at the beginning of the edition. The beginning of the edition when you can take stuff out. You can't take stuff out 6 months into the edition. And like they have Guardian Brutes. Now they're on a new base size. So you got to break them off your base and put them on a new base size 6 months into the edition. Not even 2 years into the edition. 6 months into the edition. So I love Mantic. I love this game. But you saying Force of Nature and thinking about the new player experience, Mantic has lost players from the way they specifically handle the Force of Nature like changes because it's so disrespectful to your player base.
One hand not talking to the other, yeah.
Well said. We spoke of this on one of the previous shows, especially on the Guardian Brutes. There's really no reason to put them on a different base size, especially when it's littered with the little guys. Just take out a few of the little guys, you could still fit on the 120. So what? And Mantic makes this decision to change the base size not for like game balance purpose. It's just the models can't fit. And like previously, they made the Twilight Kin Impalers too big, so they had to put on the 150 base size. But then now the Guardian Brutes, they are not even that big. It's just littered with small guys around. You just take them off.
And the price on the new Guardian Brute models, I don't know how they are in Singapore. In the US, if you want to buy Mantic official for them, it is absurdly expensive. Like you are paying more. It is more per model than a comparable model in Games Workshop's The Old World.
Oh.
And they are not better models. Like say what you will about Games Workshops, what they do with their games, their models are best in class. if your models are more expensive than a Games Workshop equivalent, why would it, like, I'm not going to give them, Sam dropped it in chat,
Yeah.
Sam Kula, 120 for a regiment.
I was going to say it's $60 for 2 of them, right?
So if you want to do a regiment, that is $120 for a regiment of Mantic official Guardian Brutes in the US. I don't know what it is in Singapore, but in the US, $120 is insane.
I think in Singapore, everybody plays elementals are cheaper.
To print, if you buy the elemental resins from Mantic, it's still more expensive. It's still just as expensive. So Mantic has this problem, especially with the large infantries. If they're not on sprues, they'll be on resins. And then on resin, they only sell them in troops. And they are like $60 per troop, right? So when you multiply it by 2, that's $120, which was part of the motivation for them to come up with a vault at the time. So all these resin sculpts that cost them too much, and it cost them a lot too, because they're all produced in UK back in their factory in Mantic. So the amount of work and man hours to make resin models is why they cost so much, and they know that it's not economical for them, and it's not economical for the players. So they were trying to curb new large infantry to a minimum, I feel, and then whatever they have existing, they're trying to throw it onto the vault to manage this issue. But they should have made plastic kits for the Guardian Brutes, I felt. There's a lack of funds.
To make 2 regiments of Guardian Brutes, which realistically you're probably going to want 2 in a nature army, would cost you more than this box cost me for the Grand Cathay Battalion, which had 50 models in it from Games Workshop. And these are new, beautiful models. Like the Cathay stuff is amazing.
And you're getting 8 models of
it would cost me more to build 2 regiments of Guardian Brutes than to buy that box from Games Workshop with 50 models in it.
Yes, that is a large infantry resin problem for Mantic. And I felt that they were trying to mitigate it somewhat. Most of the new releases, even if they were large infantry size, they were in plastic. But yeah, this one just is unfortunate.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy them. You can run something else at them.
But it's hard. The new player onboarding is hard though, because going back to the whole new player thing we're talking about, like Mantic's online shop, I think is hard to navigate. That's like an aside. But let's say that you can get like a master's degree in like physics, so you can navigate their online web portal. Now you're looking at prices, and if like let's say like me and my friend are trying to start a new community of Kings players, and we see that it's like more money in some cases to build a King's army. Let's say I don't know I can 3D print. Like I'm new to wargaming. I don't know I can 3D print. I don't know I can borrow an army. I don't know I can do those things. I just think I buy the models from the developer. The reality is I'm probably going to go elsewhere. Mantic needs to figure that out, at least in the US. And the US is paying quite a bit more than they are in England. Like in England, it's quite a bit cheaper. And I know that's the case for kind of for all war games, like stuff that's made in England is going to be cheaper there. But they need to figure something out in the US at least. I can only speak to what I know, but in the US at least to like fix some kind of affordability issue. And Sam Kula said in chat, like, you brought the good point that like they should just sell their resin stuff in STLs at some point. They already did it with salamanders, but like if the resin stuff is going to be that expensive in America that like you can't even buy the game, then at some point make it available to people. I don't know. I'm probably spiraling now because I feel really passionate about this subject.
That's a fundamental business strategy issue with Mantic, because One Page Rules started off roaring success with a full STL style, right? They focus on design and everything was on STL. If they can succeed, I don't see why. And GW is on the other extreme, a full in-house manufacturing, right? The problem with Mantic is they decide to go in between, and they don't exploit the advantages, and they have settled with the disadvantages of both sides. So they got to make up their mind. They have, because like Epic Warpath is full STL now, right? So they decided they're going to go there. I suspect down the road everybody's going to go STL. Who's going to pay 120 US for 2 models? Madness.
4 models.
Yeah. And your tariffs don't help. So there you go.
Epic Warpath. Epic Warpath is amazing, by the way. If you have not played Epic Warpath is a legitimately incredible game. It is so fun. But my Sam Kula, who's in chat right now, printed my whole army for me. I think I paid him like $20. I was like, just print me an army. And I bought the book, so I gave them money for the book for Warpath. Actually, I didn't. Somebody bought the book and gave it to me, but somebody paid money for my book. But I think Lamb, you're spot on that they're not making a choice. Which is an analogy in Kings, right? It's terrible in Kings to not commit to an option, right? You're trying to figure out your strategy to win a mission, and you have 2 options, and you do neither. They're doing that same thing. They have 2 options, and they're doing neither.
The one case that irritated me was when the Void Talent came out. There was a lot of orders for the Champions box. Remember that in Singapore, we already played Night Stalkers for a long time, so we didn't really need the other bits. We just bought the Champions box for the Void Talent. Nobody plays Champions in Singapore, right? And less than 3 weeks after releasing it, the STL file comes out. So can you imagine if you're a guy who buys the Void Talent, you're wondering, just waited 3 weeks, why didn't you just tell us in advance that it's going to be an STL file, right? And save a bit of money here and there. So I think it's really they're sitting on top of fences and tearing a new one up the rear.
Yeah. On the gaming equivalent front, we still don't know what are the factions in the next book, and the book after that, and the book after that. Why don't you tell us? So we can make our hobby decisions as well. Like, do I start doing this army? Do I wait for its book? Because I'm sure they're all planned. I'll go to comments for a bit.
Even in the side of I do 3D printing and now you can have tabletop 3D printers that print in full color, right? So one of the attractions of X-Wing was you could get the miniatures fully painted, right? If they wanted to, they could do resin fully painted. Would it cost the same amount of money? Yes. Will you pay for it? I suspect it's a higher chance because you don't have to paint it anymore, right? So are they on the bleeding edge of the strategizing or the bleeding edge of manufacturing? I don't think so. Is it because they haven't got the brains to do it? No, I think they do. It's resource management issue.
Yeah.
Yep, and like you said before, they're stretched very thin at this point as a company. I think the Halo side of things is going extremely well, and they are devoting a lot of time, effort, and resources into that, and they are seeing the success because of that. But then they're falling behind on these other ends, and Kings of War and models in general for the gaming communities. So we'll see if they can pick up the ball here and kind of catch up. But I do think you're right. They are just behind, and they're kind of in this middle ground where nobody should be at right at this moment. So.
Also, Lamb, when you said earlier,
going to kill Mantic.
Lamb, earlier you said nobody plays Champions in Singapore. You could have left it at nobody plays Champions, and that would have been accurate.
Yeah.
I bought the Northern Alliance Champions box for Jordan, and then he has the worst rules in the game. He's a horrible unit. You will never see him get played.
In Champions or in Kings of War?
In Kings of War, he's terrible.
Right. Yeah.
But the Void Talent is awesome. That bird is nuts.
Hell yeah.
I watched some Champions battle reports, and I'm like, this is just Kings of War with less units, such that the player that strikes first or kills the first unit has such an insane advantage that the other player can never catch up. What kind of game is this? It's just Kings of War, First Blood wins, and then it's just a slow crawl to the finish line where the other player just gets beat up. It's like, oh my goodness. Because I've seen a game a rank and flank game with very few units on the table work, and that's called A Song of Ice and Fire. And that is a game where it works. It's a very crunchy game. There's a lot of nuances, but it's a game that works with very few units on the table. I would say that would not be where the direction that Mantic wanted Kings of War, the Champions game, to be an introduction to Kings of War. But then if you can't build that game, I'd rather that you don't. You can't build that game successfully. I would rather that you don't. Well. Let me go to chat. Andy Patton slipped into the chat. I think the intro to Kings of he earlier mentioned about how his Salamander army was cheaper to do with GW models than Mantic models. And he says now, I think Kings of War intro is harder than 40k because it's a skill-intensive game. I would argue that Kings of War is easier to pick up because the mechanics are pretty simple. 40k, I think you have the I don't know about recently, but I think the objective changes every turn, and then you have to take note of what command. What do they call them? Stratagems.
Yeah.
That are all over the place. So I think that's a lot of us. That makes it very hard for new players.
I play Kings of War because it's a good system. I play 40k because of the law.
Mm-hmm.
So the law allows you to gloss over all the nonsense that goes on, the change of rules, the this and that, right? So if you're going to have a game system like Kings of War that's superb for tournament play, right? Lean into it instead of, right? So I don't think anybody will say, I'm going to play 40k because the rule set is very tight and it's perfect for tournaments. I don't think anybody's going to say that.
Yeah. Warpath Goated bought scouts from Mantic.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah, I want to clarify what Sam's saying here is that's who printed me my full Warpath army, which actually dropped on the ground a couple days ago because my box broke. Like the handle broke off my box and it fell and my army exploded. It was really sad. Pretty bummed out about it. But he printed from Mantic, so Mantic has all of the STLs available for Warpath. So he wasn't printing me random. He's printing the Mantic stuff, but I did not buy the box.
All right. Best worst general, I think that's Tim from Australia. My God, I get to watch one of these. Welcome, Tim. Sam Smith. Adam, give us your squeeze cheese cracker preferences. Top 5. Top 5 what? Top 5 factions?
No, that's a little bit of an inside joke. So in the US, we have canned cheese that you kind of spray on almost like a Cool Whip or Miracle Whip can. You just press it and then it just comes shooting out, and you put it on crackers and then eat it. So we were talking about the other night for some reason. And
it's something that it feels so distinctly American to put cheese in a can that you spray out like a nozzle.
Yeah.
It's like a very American thing to eat.
It's very, it's definitely not good for you, but it tastes good.
I'm intrigued. I would like to try some.
Come to the US.
Paige, we're running a tournament in Ohio, the Ohio GT, in October. At a casino. It's going to be awesome. If you come out for that, I will personally give you all of the canned cheese you want. I'll buy you cases and cases of canned cheese if you come out to the Ohio GT.
Right. I do want to make a trip to US at some point to play Kings. It is a long trip, and it is a lot of brownie points to trade in for the wife to qualify for that. Hitman, Halo S tier, all my homies love Halo. Tim says, I find most of the champion from the box sets pretty meh, but that sums up Kings of War 4th edition, 4th armies right now. Are you referring to the models, Tim, or how they work, their rules in Kings of War? Okay, Adam giving his top 5 cheeses. Honest for Gaming, what did he say? Alex Jordan and the Halfling guy are amazing models in my opinion, but most of them aren't great. So perhaps they are debating the models. Axel Trickle Group. Who is Alex? Alex.
Hitmang. Hitmang's real name is Alex.
Right. So Tim was referring to the rules. There are some strong ones, I think. Actually, only one. I only think of the Void Talent. Any others?
The halfling guy is not terrible, but halflings themselves are terrible. So
yeah.
Axel Tricklebook is really good.
Oh yes, Axel Tricklebook.
Axel's really good.
He is, yeah. But yeah, I would put the Void Talon miles ahead of anybody else.
I agree.
Like,
yeah,
he might just be the best character in the game.
Whoa. The Ice Queen exists. She's my...
No, Sam.
That's a pretty normal wizard.
Nah, dude. Ice Queen.
No, Sam.
Easily the best.
Who?
The Void Talent.
Yeah, see, he's got my back here, Sam.
I don't know. If you guys played Lei Lung and Zerkali, Lei Lung's pretty good.
Nope.
5 and
sure haven't. Sure haven't.
No one will.
If I was to vote for the best wizard, it will be the Goblin Wizard because it's cheap.
On behalf of Asia, I find it very annoying that the human element in martial arts is so underpowered. It's ridiculous. We grew up with Bruce Lee and Shaolin monks being superhuman, and all these guys get is Thunder Charge 1. Good God. Right?
Yeah, I agree.
And what? No ninjas? No ninjas at all? No? Nothing? Yeah. So I think they missed a bit. I hope there's a Zerkali book 2 or something that comes out.
I agree. The Shao Quan is the closest you get to that, the punch monkey. Like he's got kind of the cool like kung fu thing, like he's thematic and cool, but like it's not even a human, it's a monkey. Like why don't we have like a hero that's like a really strong like Bruce Lee type? That'd be awesome.
Yeah, and Bruce Lee compared to the heroes of Chinese culture, he's all right. He's a gimmick. Yeah. Then why doesn't a 15-foot dragon Goku not have Strider? That I don't understand.
Because it's got to be next to those Beastmasters to get it. That's why.
Weird rules. Yeah.
But I can't agree more as far as the characters in general in the Zerkali army. I think are lacking a little bit of flavor, definitely a lot of power when it comes to that, and like utility. They just don't really have much going for them.
Everybody just uses matriarchs. That's all.
I think matriarchs are a lot better with the warrior pack hordes now because you have the volume of dice that like this just makes sense for. I actually think what?
Double matriarch.
So I ran a matriarch. The tournament that I got second in this week, I ran one matriarch. But the Yan Lieutenant is so good. That I think like you could run like one matriarch, one Yan Lieutenant, or maybe one matriarch, 2 Yan Lieutenants, and be fine. Double matriarch is what's that going to be? 420 points and 2 warlords. I see the vision for sure, but that's a lot of points. One matriarch with Sacred Horn could be good too to get the 9-inch aura for the vicious.
Yeah,
but
I had a good time with 4 witch cages.
Oh, which cage is so good?
Play 4.
How did you have the unlocks for 4? Was it like 4 Yan regiments?
2 battalions.
There we go. Yeah, that's crazy.
And lots of the Yan.
Yeah, just Brotherhood. Just take the Brotherhood.
Double Blizzard in the center.
They do have cheap units. That's one of the good things about them. So
now that we're on this Zerkali talk, Andy Patton says if you want to win with Zerkali, all you have to do is not use lions. I thought the lions are pretty good. But what's this deal with lions?
Too much phalanx running around.
They're expensive, so I think that people fall in the trap of taking maybe more than one. I don't see I don't see any army with more than one of these doing exceptionally well. I could be wrong, obviously, but I think one true hammer with that type of unit is really, and playing around something like that is a winning play style that has been proven before. Whereas if you're just going to go like an alpha strike list and try to take 3 or 4 of those, I don't think that's a winning recipe there.
Yeah. Trenton Preby in the chat just agreed with you and said lions are good. 1 is the right number of lions. 1 lion with J-boots goes insane. It's so good.
So you don't have to pay for the Beastmaster as well, yeah?
Yeah, the Beastmaster tax is weird. Like, it feels really expensive to not be inspiring.
A lot of them take it with the inspiring talisman.
Let's talk about the inspiring problem. And there's a character that has situational inspiring in the stupid Siege Master who inspires only the damn war machines in the list. I don't understand.
I don't think it's just a war machine. I think does it inspire the chakrams too?
Just war machines.
Just war machines. The aura, I think, elite that it gives off
elite
works
ranged, yeah.
for range. So it works on the chakrams for that. But it can't inspire the chakrams.
You have to put inspiring talisman on him.
It's so stupid.
It is defense 6 with and non-yielding, which was the shock of my life. I'm like, what?
Yeah, he's like this insurance policy for like turn 6. So I've in Columbus we've been playing with Chakram hordes quite a bit. A couple of us have been experimenting with them, and he can do this thing where like turn 5, once like the lines break down and you like everyone remembers to play the objective, you can go just like tie up something for the rest of the game. They're never killing it. It's like nerve 16, defense 6, individual pivot, and just go take something out. And it's like, cool, like your thing there is not scoring because you're never killing my guy.
It boggles the mind why a guy that's directing artillery has to wear so much armor. Yeah.
Protect from shrapnel.
Misfires.
Team asks who plays X-Dogs. Honest 4 says me. And obviously Sam here as well.
That's me. That's our like our YouTube channel. That's me.
Oh, Honest 4 is your channel, right?
It's like our community channel. But I signed into that to comment in here because I thought it would be funny, and it has been.
So Tim says everything in
everything
is too expensive.
The warrior troop is superb.
Which is great because that army severely lacked chaff, I think. And that is probably the best unit that it could have for chaff.
And the monkey monsters are fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Shao Quan,
yes.
He's fun.
Or
he's a goofy guy.
The Kali instantly viable army. You think so?
Yes.
Lions are good. 1 is the right number, Fenton. If you can't pilot speed 7 with Strider, I think that's a user error. The Exots changed at all in Fracture. I knew they gained the Warrior Pack Horde option.
They changed the amount of attacks on the troop and regiment for warrior packs. So warrior pack troop went from I think 12 to 15 attacks, and regiments went from 15 to 20 attacks, which is to what Layman and I have been talking about. That made the troops insane. Going to 15 attacks is a legit kill threat
on a troop. We crushed 1 Strider.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sorry, I'm not familiar with it, Toby. What armies do you normally run?
Who?
The two of you, Adam and Sam.
I played Northern Alliance for the most part. That's why I played at Masters and played for most of this year. And then I've been building a Zerkali army since the spring. And I really just finished that recently. So I've been playing. Now I'm pretty much just playing Zerkali because I got pretty bored with Northern Alliance. And I think they're in a weird spot balance wise. Not that they're bad. I just think they're in a weird spot. Like the thing that is good for them, I don't enjoy playing. Like the Jeff Shulkin Pack Hunter regiment thing, spam, I don't enjoy. So personally, that's not a statement to Jeff or anything like that. Just personally, that's not my play style. So, but I'm a Zerkali player now primarily.
Good for you.
Yeah, they're fun. They're really fun. I've had more fun playing Zerkali than anything else. They are so fun.
I play elves, EOD, but I haven't really touched them at all. And then I'm primarily a Night Stalker player. So
you can't start with Eric won 2 U.S. Masters playing Night Stalker.
Eric, who?
Sorry, Adam. I mean, I think Eric is T-Biss's cousin.
Well,
Adam is
it's the most recent thing I played was elves. It's what I've played the most in 4th edition. So
Ballard's got undercosted.
They're expensive still. I don't think they're the end all be all by any means. So,
all right.
6 hordes.
What's that?
6 hordes of Ballard's got. Terribly fun.
Hey, everybody should run what they like playing. So go for it.
Unless you like playing 4 Commandants, then you should stop playing.
Yeah, we're looking at you, Andy.
All right, I think our conversation has been derailed. So with that, any last shout outs before we end the show? Let's bring it back specifically to our topic of Kings of War from a newer player perspective.
Yeah, I think my like quick like final thought to new players. To new players would be like find people you enjoy playing with and play with them. If you watch this and you're like, wow, like I want to like play with people who love the game and love each other, like find a way to join our Discord server. It's pretty easy. You contact like Ballard or me on Discord or social media. I can get you in. I don't want to put Ballard on the spot like that, but you're in our server. You can get people in. We play a ton on UB, which is like an online way to play Kings. We play a ton in person. Like find people to play with. Just have fun playing the game. Play a lot of Kings. You'll get better quickly that way. And to people who are like, I want more new players in our scene, or new players join and they leave, or how do I attract new players? You have to have a missional mindset to an extent. I have watched Kyle Poole be in the middle of a game of Kings, and like hand his dice to someone and be like, all right, you're playing now. We'll figure it out. Or like Sam, Kula, Trenton, myself, Nate Lauke, other guys in Columbus. Like we view Monday nights as an opportunity to while we play at the stores to introduce people to the game. So if you want more new people to play in public and have a good time doing it. Laugh a lot, make jokes, like have fun. I didn't play 40K for a long time, so I don't really play 40K because when I watch 40K players play, they never look like they're having a good time. Have fun. I was literally crying laughing tonight at the store during our games. So go play in public and have a good time doing it. And if someone looks like they're watching, just be like, hey, come over real quick. Let me talk. Do you see what we're doing? Like, invite people in. People want to feel invited. And if they feel that if they feel seen by you, they are more likely to play the game.
Awesome. Lam, what about yourself? Any thoughts to summarize the state of playing Kings of War right now?
Just be patient, the system corrects itself fairly rapidly every few months, and most of the corrections they make are pretty spot on points-wise, balancing, right? You just have to be patient, that if you are coming into this game expecting a fully completed product, then I think your expectations and the reality do not match and you'll be naturally frustrated. So just be patient, but you got to rest assured in the back of your mind that the changes are ongoing and they're done by people who actually know what they're doing. And the fact that these guys don't have an ego. So, for example, the orc correction for Green Rage, I thought that was very manly of them, corrected, say they made a mistake, they changed it as soon as they could. So I appreciate a game system that they're not there to make money, they're there to make sure it's a good game. So really, can you find a system that makes it a priority to make it a good game? you hire the best designer out of Games Workshop, you gave it time. Ex-Games Workshop designers come along and say that this is a great system. So be patient. Yeah, you'll be good. It's a great game.
Right. I would think that they would want to make money. They're not.
Sometimes it seems that they're not interested in making money, you know.
Adam, final thoughts.
I'm just glad that we got both these guys on here. It's very refreshing and interesting to always hear different points of views. And I think that, you know, we, as veteran players, Paige, tend to gravitate towards those veteran players that we've known and talked to for years on end. So it's always good to hear from people that may just be outside of your normal thought process. And new perspectives are always great, especially when we're all talking about the game we love. So
awesome. And Lam and I are going to the game store in about 3.5 hours time to get our games in.
Awesome. Try the new Watchtower mission for Siege. It's so fun.
No. We have no time for non-competitive games. I get my one game a week. So
we are preparing to join the Australians early next year.
Ooh.
Right? Yeah, so we're going to fly there. So we're going to hope we don't embarrass ourselves, you know. And it's always a friendly rivalry between Singapore and where is it, Sydney? No, Canberra, right? Capital to capital. So hope we get one podium at least. Paige, get a podium.
If I'm able to head down.
You are going.
All right. Hey, and the chat has been really lively tonight, or this morning, depending on which part of the world you're at. So thanks for all the chatter going on in the chat. I apologize if I can't get to all of the comments. A lot of trash talking for sure. So it's very for me to go through all of them, but I appreciate the lively chat today, especially. That's what a live show is about, right? So some interaction with the audience out there. So I thank everybody for listening thus far, and we'll see you in the next live show. And with that, bye-bye, everybody.
Adios.
See ya.
Bye. Play more Kings.